That opening animation never goes out of style. Good morning, everyone. My name is Todd Bivona with Gotham Trinity Productions. How are you? Welcome along to this Tuesday, June 23rd version of SIEDC Live, or if you're really keeping track, March 92, 2020. It's a pleasure to have you along with us here this morning. I think we're going to have some fun. As always, you know why? Because I'm very happy to announce that Jaclyn Taschetti rejoins the program. She's the Director of Marketing Outreach. So we're excited to have her back. Also, our guest, our member, Mark Giacalone, Vice President of IDB Bank, private banker. So looking forward to that. I hope everyone's been well. Happy Phase 2, everybody. We survived Phase 1. I see a little fun. Happy Phase 2. We survived Phase 1. Numbers are going in the right direction with regards to caseload of the positive tests, fatalities, and the curve, right? We were told to flatten the curve, and it looks like New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts are leading the way in the state in regards to not so much eradicating this virus, but being able to move on in a safe manner. Now it's other states who have to step up to the plate, right? It's a big process, so we feel for all those states who are going through it right now, because we were there. Feels like just yesterday when we were reporting of 700, 800 fatalities a day. But again, good news, positive vibes. It's hot out, folks. It's sunny. It's beautiful. Restaurants are open. Go to Massazeska outside. Go to Daddy-O's on Minthorn Street. Check out the executive dining network at the SIEDC. These restaurants are open, ready to have you, happy to have you. But one thing I want to note with restaurants being open, be patient. Pack your patience. What does that mean? This is new territory for all of them, whether they're a host, hostess, server, bartender, this whole outdoor realm for some of these establishments that had to literally build outdoor establishments. This is new. This is also, they need to follow certain protocols that the CDC and the local government has provided. So there's certain ways in which they'll be able to seat you. It might be a little slower. Service might be a little slower. So just be mindful of that as we open up in Phase 2, Day 2 of Phase 2. So that's the message from the Gotham Trinity Production Camp. We're happy to be with you again. With that being said, 3 minutes is up. Let's bring on Jaclyn Taschetti, again, Director of Marketing Outreach for the SIEDC. Jaclyn, we miss you.
I missed you guys. I was so sad when I wasn't on the show and a little jealous.
Oh, well, it's so good to have you back. How you been?
I've been well. We were just very busy last week with webinars for our members and some other virtual opportunities for membership. So my obligations were elsewhere, but luckily our team, in a manner that we always do, we pick up the slack and we have each other's back. So Bobby was a great guest on the show as well.
Bobby Anderson did a great job. I think it was a week ago today, in fact, just coming on and just sharing some news from the SIEDC camp, dates and whatnot that we share every time we're on this program, which is always relevant. Jaclyn, I hear the SIEDC staff is back in waves, though. Explain that.
Yeah, so ironically, I'm still reporting from my home, but the SIEDC staff is back in the office. But the way that we're doing this safely is we are coming in shifts. So some of us are in, Monday, Wednesday, some are Tuesday, Thursday, and then we all have designated work from home days as well. And we're doing this in an effort to keep the whole staff safe, but still be able to be in the office for a full week, have staff in the office for a full week. So we're really excited about it. I was actually there yesterday, and it was really different because, you had to wear your mask, you have to have your gloves on in certain cases, only one person in the kitchen and copy room at a time. But it really was nice to finally see everyone's face, though. So the good vibes are still in the office, and we're definitely ready to go and continue planning for our membership in the community.
Nice. So you were there yesterday.
I was.
How did it feel?
It felt good. It felt good to see everyone, but it was a little weird for me because I'm a total hugger. So it was like I haven't seen everyone in a long time, and I wanted to, give everyone a big hug, but we had to stay our 6-foot distance.
Yeah.
And it was also a little different. We're working with our office doors closed, And we really are normally an
Oh,
open door. Yeah, we're normally like an open door kind of office. You know, you've visited before.
yeah. That's why I'm making that face, because it's when you go to the offices, everyone's door is open, everyone's on the phone talking, who's screaming at who's dialing direct to someone down the. It's madness because of the amount of work you guys are putting in. But wow, so you going door closed? Is that extra safety precaution?
Yeah, just extra safety. I mean, we do want to try and not, a lot of our offices are small and don't allow for the 6 foot distance. So we don't want to really have any kind of misstep. So any of us who have the ability to close an office door really have been, at least yesterday. And
Okay.
we also put in the plexiglass on some of the other cubicles just to make it a little more safe. But I
Oh
have
yeah.
to say, the operations team, Gina, Jody, Danny, Bobby, really stepped up, and we all got our own little safety kits with, Clorox wipes and everything. So
Of course.
I did feel very safe coming back, which was
Good.
positive, but it was different. It was different. The
Yeah.
new normal, as you call it.
As we call it, that's right, the new normal. Gosh, if I had a dime for every time I heard that word in the past month, my goodness. So yeah, that new normal, getting back to work, everyone's going through that, right, Jack? And we've touched on it this program a lot about the programs that you guys are running in order to assist businesses understand what that means and the proper protocols to take in order to open, whether that's PPE distribution that you guys did at Chocolatier last week, 2 weeks ago, thanks to Jay Anderson and company, and the
Yes.
SIEDC as a whole. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. What else have you been doing to help out businesses understand what it means to be open again?
So luckily we've mentioned
Oh.
Caesar J. Claro is Caesar J. Claro is on one of the mayor's task forces. Sorry, that's a tongue twister. So we've been sharing that information with SIEDC members through text alerts. So as Caesar gets information, whether it's about what restaurants need to be doing to be well prepared, or what retail businesses can expect, we've been sending that out to our members through text alerts. So if we could put in the comments, if you're interested in receiving text alerts, you can contact me directly. And that's at jaclyn@siedc.org. But those text alerts have really been helpful because as Caesar is even at those meetings, he's sending that information out to the members. And that's been really valuable, and we've been getting some good feedback. So yeah, that's one of the ways we've been getting information out there. And of course, we have our social media channels, shows like this, and our website as a resource as well.
Of course, SIC.org, always a plethora of good information. What's the concerns people have so far, Jaclyn? What's everyone nervous about, or what's the lot of questions that you're getting, Jaclyn?
So as an organization, one of the main questions we're getting, and we have talked about it on the show, is about our events. And obviously businesses have similar concerns about large scale either events or meetings or things that they're hosting. And I have to say that we are exploring virtual platforms for some of our events. We haven't finalized any of that yet, but I think especially after being in the office yesterday and realizing just how different it is to interact when you're wearing a mask, and just to see everybody's threshold of comfort. It is very hard to organize, or challenging to organize, a successful event that could be valuable to our members. So what we're doing is we're exploring all kinds of options and seeing which ones we can actually hold in person and have everyone feel comfortable, safe, and still feel like there's a value to it. I know
Right.
we are excited about our golf events. Those seem to be the ones that we're the most confident in hosting. We have one, the chairman's outing, on September 10th, and there is information on the website, and another in October 26th, which is our annual golf outing. But I would say most of our inquiries from our members have been about the other events, whether they're mixers or conferences, and we're just finalizing those details now. Like I said, being in person in the new normal was a little strange yesterday, so it made us maybe want to pivot a little bit.
Right. Yeah, and it's going to take a little bit of figuring out of how this is going to work the right way. So I totally get that. question for you, Jaclyn. Anything else that we want to cover from the SIEDC camp? Any other news or any other surveys or not? What I know we talk about the surveys a lot.
Yeah, so right now, our surveys are still the last one. We're the one on our website is currently obtaining information from the public about what you'd like to see at our events. So that's still the page we're on as far as surveys. But something else I want to mention is we've really ramped up the available webinars for both SIEDC members and the public. So today at 2 p.m., we're having a webinar with one of our board members, Koresh and Hollander, who's going to explore some financial options available to you. If you want to, there's been some new like bankruptcy adjustments in what's available to businesses. So we're going to be talking about that today. And then also we have an upcoming webinar with Anthony Lebecci of AFLAC on July 7th. So we're really ramping up the webinars that are available to the community because we've seen that a lot of the businesses within our network are offering new services that we want to make available to the public. So that's really the latest.
My microphone is off. Sorry about that. So yeah, I know you guys had something last Thursday in regards to PPP loan, which was very useful for a lot of people. So I think that was great. And then you have the other webinars going on, which is awesome. So, all right, Jack, and if that's it, I think we're ready to move on to Mr. Giacalone. What do you think? All right, excellent. So let's move on. Let's move on to Mark Giacalone. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for having me on as a guest. I really appreciate it. So during COVID-19, I'll just let you know a little bit about the bank. So
yes,
back in 1949, when we are a foreign bank, we're a wholly owned subsidiary of IDB Bank Tel Aviv, which is one of the largest banks in Israel. And in 1949, the U.S. actually passed a bill for foreign banks to operate here. We were one of the five banks, the first five banks that formed here and started operating in 1949. So in 2019, we actually celebrated our 70-year anniversary, which was really nice. So really, we're a relationship bank. We have 5 locations in New York and New Jersey. We're in Beverly Hills, California, downtown Los Angeles, and Aventura, Florida. So by saying we're a relationship bank, it's really the personal touch. It's, we're similar to other community banks here on Staten Island, but meaning that once we onboard a client, we don't just forget about that client. Their phone calls are never going to go in unanswered. Their emails are never going to go unanswered. And we're going to build that relationship with them because as they grow, we want to grow with them. And we kind of started COVID practices even before the pandemic, really, because we do things like such as curbside pickup for your deposit at your front door. So a lot of clients have been requesting that we do that during the pandemic, obviously, because they rather do that than step foot in our branch. Now, as far as our branch has been open the whole time. We just reduced our hours. So we're open Monday. First of all, we're located 201 Edward Curry Avenue, which is right off South Avenue. And we reduced our hours to 9 to 3 Monday to Friday. And we had reduced staff. So at first we were operating at about 25% staff. I myself was actually working from home for just over 3 months. And they just allowed us to have 50% capacity here. So now I'm back in the office as far as last Monday.
Great.
And I just want to tell you a little bit about what the building is. This is a 3-story office building. So there's several businesses in our office, insurance companies. We have a dentist. We have a law firm. We have a CPA firm. And what our building is doing is really making us as employees feel comfortable, and definitely our clients. So when you walk in, they actually have a security guard that has this little iPad-looking device, and you have to look into it. It tells you your temperature immediately. Then our clients all clients that come in have to sign in at the front desk. And when they come up, they have to we all have to wear masks throughout the entire building. Clients have to wear masks. And when they come in, we have 700 masks here in our branch to give to clients if they didn't have one, although the front door is giving the masks anyway because they're not allowed through the building without them.
Right.
We have hand sanitizer. We're only operating at appointment only when clients come to the branch, and we're only allowing one client at a time.
Okay.
So really, and each client actually has to sign a disclosure just saying that they confirming that they haven't been around anybody that's been infected with the virus recently, or that they've experienced the virus recently. So we're kind of trying to keep track as best we can.
Nice, Mark. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Lot to unpack there, Mark. How long have you been working for IDB Bank, and what's been your roles?
So I've been here for a year and a half. My role is vice president, private banker, which means that I deal with personal clientele and business clientele, where I manage their accounts and help them get business loans, personal loans. We also have a global wealth management division where for investments. So we help with that and help clients grow their investment portfolios. Really, as many I've seen the other shows where with Gail, where she mentioned that the PPP. I know you don't want to hear it again, but yeah, the PPP loan.
It's okay. You could say it. It's a part of life. It's. I'm not going to get rid of it. I want to get rid of it, but I can't get rid of it. So, Mark, what do you have on the PPP?
Right. Okay. Loan? So, all right. So, we were not approved by the SBA to issue those loans at first, but the bank did apply immediately because we wanted to help our clients, and we were approved. So right off the bat, really the second round of the PPP, we actually just worked round the clock, like you've heard from many other banks. I myself was working from home at that point in time, and about 12:30, 1 a.m. In the morning, I was working till to try to get these loans processed and funded. Our branch alone had about 14 million in approved and funded PPP loans. So the bank wide had about over 200 million in the U.S. So it felt really good to be a part of that, and to know that that was actually putting money in employees' pockets. To keep these businesses going as much as we could help them to do so.
Yeah, so I understand it's been a big part of the businesses, and it's very important. It just seems like ad nauseam. I'd say, what was it, April, Mark? Right? I feel like is when legislation started coming out, and then you guys were working around the clock, which is, I give you guys all the credit in the world for that. It's definitely a lot of work that your banks have been doing. Mark, what's been the overriding concern that you've been hearing from clients, personal wise? Like what's everyone nervous at? Are they nervous about their money in a bank right now? Are they nervous about investing anymore? Are they taking money out because they might be unemployed or whatnot? What's just been the general vibe of your clients? A very broad brush, if you would, Mark.
I have to say that when this pandemic came into play originally really in the full swing in March, we really experienced clients starting to get nervous, and what we did was we reassured them, showing that our bank in particular is remaining extremely strong, and we, because we have bank ratings and everything like that. So what we did was we by the rated by the S&P, Fitch ratings and all that. So we let our clients know those ratings, that we're still audited, and we're still strong. So your money's safe. It's still the money that the depository money is still FDIC insured up to 250,000. So it really helped to reassure clients and kind of get that fear out of their heads a little bit. And then that seemed to go, not last too long, and go away, that concern, really.
Right. And now that we're looking at phase 1, phase 2, happy phase 2, day 2, by the way, to you, Mark. I'm sure you're looking forward to taking your wife out to a meal outside. No.
I am. I kind of cheated a little bit because what I did was we took a family trip to Florida.
Oh, nice.
And because we were supposed to go in for Easter, but then we had to cancel that. So then we actually went a few weeks ago. And what I have to say is I'll talk about that experience where the plane was we felt safe on the plane. Everybody had to wear a mask, and it was a United flight, and they kept the middle row vacant. So we're operating like maybe 50% capacity, and then they have you fill out this questionnaire. You're met when you get off when we got down to Florida by the National Guard, and they ask you all these questions. And then we were able to go. We stayed at a family's house, at my in-laws' house. But however, we were able to go out to restaurants where they were actually 50% capacity, and everybody was wearing masks and all that stuff. We felt just really safe doing that. So I think that they did it kind of early, but then once New York opens up, I think we're going to see at least restaurants operating in a similar fashion.
Right. And now, Mark, how did it feel? I asked Jaclyn how it felt to get back to the office. Talk to me about you and your family getting on a plane. I know we're pivoting a little bit from IDB Bank. We'll be back with IDB Bank in a moment, right after these brief messages. But first, I want to know how that was like getting on a plane. Did you feel comfortable? Did you feel safe? What was that like? Did people around you feel on edge? Real quick, Mark.
Oh yeah, no, it was just as far as the vibe going into the airport and getting on the plane, it really seemed people were, of course, just like you're in a supermarket. Everybody keeps 6 feet away when they're waiting online and everything like that. Everybody's wearing a mask. So it really felt safe. And the vibe, it didn't really feel like people were panicky in the airport. We're on the plane.
Okay. All right. So it's good to hear that people are relaxed a little bit. Getting back to the bank, how about businesses? Obviously you work with businesses, of course, right, Mark?
Right. Yes.
What's been their concern, Mark? What's on their minds leading into, again, phase 1, phase 2? Obviously the loans, you've been probably dealing with a lot of those loans that we mentioned. Well, again, I'm always curious, what's the overwhelming feeling from the small business community on Staten Island? What other questions that you're fielding most popular that maybe some other restaurant owners or business owners might have, Mark?
All right. So, I think they're concerned. I mean, they really just want to get back in business. I think they've had it with the cabin fever and everything like that. I mean, the weather's nice out. The COVID-19 numbers have been on going down, at least in New York. And so I think they just want to get back into business. They're really anxious to do so. They're really anxious to start making some revenue again. And then the ones who took out the PPP loans, they're really trying to do their due diligence to make sure they're trying to get as much as a PPP loan forgiven as possible, which it has kind of like become a science now. If you watch the SIEDC webinar recently, I thought it was really, really good, and it was very informative. And it kind of like, sheds light on the reality of what business owners are facing. But on the other end, for the portion that's not forgiven, there's a 5-year repayment term, and the interest rate is 1%. So it's really a loan that you really can't get anywhere else.
Correct.
If it does become a portion of it.
All right. So there's resources out there for businesses still. In order to help cope during this time, whether open or not. Again, some of us are in phase 3, some are even in phase 4. Mark, I want to end your piece today. Well, I do want to take note of a very important note that the IDB Bank is a presenting sponsor of the SIEDC Chairman's Cup golf outing, which is on September 10th coming up. And that's exciting because, Mark, that's going to be the first, Jaclyn, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the first in-person SIEDC gathering in months. Mark, are you going to be attending, you think?
I am definitely going to be attending. So I attended the one last year, and it's a very prestigious event. I'm really looking forward to it. So we bring several of our clients to the event.
Oh, great.
Last year we went out to eat at the Old Homestead with some of our
Oh,
clients, and then we golfed the next day. But a lot of the clients, it rained that day, so some of the clients didn't want to golf. But however, we're looking forward to this year, to
yeah.
this golf event.
Old Homestead. That's some good steak, my friend.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Hey, so that's more positive note, but very SIEDC related. We'll animate that off the screen. Let's go to just a broad brush on you, Mark, in general. How's life been, and is there a silver lining for all this, through all this, a positive takeaway from all this? You said you were working at home a bunch. Just something positive to end today with, Mark?
Yes. So what I could say is the positive side for me personally was when I worked from home, being able to spend a little bit more time with my wife and my son, Luca. My son is 20 months old, so he's really at that stage now where he's developing rapidly. So just to be able to have breakfast with him, have a lunch with him, maybe take a little break and walk him around the block, was just very special to me, and something that I would never have expected that I would be able to experience on the level that I did during the pandemic.
Right.
So that was really great. And then
Okay.
it was interesting working from home too, because for instance, the networking group that you're involved in too, Todd, the Staten
Right.
Island Executive Networking Group. I was involved with that before the pandemic, so we were actually meeting at Mike's Unicorn Diner, and it was a few people, men and women, that were meeting there for breakfast to network. But it was a small group of people normally, and so really when the pandemic started, we moved to Zoom, and we had 3 meetings per week on Zoom, and I just felt like we all of a sudden we had 30 people that are joining our networking meetings, and I actually got referrals for it. I sent referrals out, and it was really interesting to see how Zoom. This was really a startup networking group, and I think that Zoom really helped to kick it off and build it. So now we'll see when we were able to start meeting at a diner or wherever we want to meet in person.
Sure.
I'm curious to see how many people will be there and everything like that, and how it will continue to develop.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Is of the good, if I can piggyback off that, are all these little groups popping up during quarantine because we're all trying to get through, right? Just whether it's keeping busy, just talking business with people, and how are you adjusting? What are you doing to pivot? How are you using Zoom? How are you going live on Facebook?
Right.
All this kind of stuff. It was great to talk to people, like you said, Mark, in that group.
Right.
All right, Mark, really appreciate the time. Once again, the SIEDC Chairman's Cup golf outing on September 10th, 2020 is presented by IDB Bank. Mark Giacalone, who joined us today. He is the Vice President and Private Banker over there at IDB Bank. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate the time, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, that was Mark Giacalone. So cool. Funny story, I know his brother, and I also went to school with his wife. So very awesome family there. So really cool to be chatting with Mark in this way. We have a minute to go. We've been instructed by the Director of Marketing Outreach, Jaclyn, Taschetti, to talk a little bit about Gotham in the last minute. We've been up to a lot, and I'm going to try to encapsulate it all right here in 1 minute. This past Wednesday, we had the Staten Island Rising Virtual Summit, which was a great summit that was presented by Gotham Trinity Productions and Lions Pride Leadership. It was a summit, an hour and 45 minutes, targeting what leadership means through crisis, specifically the COVID-19 pandemic. And that was fun to produce, fun to record with Danielle and Chad Reyes and John over from Lions Pride, and put those elements together. We worked with the Luminart, and it was all for a good cause. We were raising money for the nonprofits of Staten Island. And talking with Mark now, and I should have mentioned this, a lot of money and funds were donated and given to people on the front lines and essential workers, and to try and combat this. During that time, the nonprofits of Staten Island suffered. Why? Because their galas were canceled. Their major fundraising events were canceled or postponed. So it was important, over a couple of phone calls with the nonprofits of Staten Island and Sharmila, the executive director of the Nonprofit Association of Staten Island, mentioned it on a meeting, saying we're trying to figure out new ways to raise some money. Well, Gotham and Lions probably created this event along with our friends over at Techie Geek, another valued SIEDC member. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., Gotham's very proud to be a part of the Avenel Performing Arts Center doing a weekly Wednesday show at 3 p.m. live from APAC, which is a talk variety show. I got my little Johnny Carson desk, and we have guests on the couch or on two-way where we remote callers in, if you will, remote in our guests. And that's a very fun show. What else have you been working on? Marlboro High School in New Jersey requested our services along with Partners in Sound Productions, who is the SIEDC member of the month, by the way. Massimo Dodana, SIEDC member of the month, Partners in Sound Productions. And Techie Geek, our good friend Mike Bloomfield, helped us out with Marlboro High School doing their virtual graduation. That was a first for Gotham. Very interesting to put on this graduation in a digital setting that they were very happy with. So that's something we've been working on. What else have we been working on? Juicy Lucy Barbecue, although not a member, we've been working with their drive-in movie theater. Coming up next Friday is their first showing, and we're producing the first 14 minutes, the pre-show. And that is actually open for advertisements, 30-second spots. And we are also sharing some of our content as well, Gotham's content. So we're looking forward to that. What else are we working on? Mike, give me something in the private chat. We're working on Special Tees, another SIEDC member, Vincent Bonomi, and his great staff over there who were hunkered down and couldn't work. And I know that hurt them a lot to not be with one another. Special Tees, Highland and Buell. We've been working with them. We did testimonials for them. We did a highlight rip of testimonials. And we also did a nice news package that he's going to be releasing either today or tomorrow. Another partnership with Techie Geek, Mike Bloomfield. We did testimonials for Techie Geek. So we got people, and Mark and I were talking about speaking with clients at home one-on-one via Zoom. One thing Gotham found is that doing testimonials while people are hunkered down and have no place to go was a great time to do it. And you can still do that. If you want to do testimonials for your business, we can conduct them. I can just interview them. Better someone else does it than someone on your team, right? That would seem kind of weird. We also partnered with PCCS, Person-Centered Career Services. Jaclyn, correct me if I'm wrong with that. I always mess that up. But our good friend Alyssa D'Augusto, we did a couple of videos for them. There was a musical video that we did, in addition to editing a radio interview together for them. So that was very exciting. Who else are we working with? We're working with local high schools. We're very proud to announce a few members joining the Gotham team from Newdorp High School, Tottenville High School. Up next is Staten Island Tech High School is going to be jumping on board this train. And looking forward to a partnership at some point with CSI and their media program. That was something that was supposed to take place and move forward, but the pandemic hit, and not sure where that lies at this point in time. We're also joining forces with a soon-to-be Staten Island Baseball League, which is going to be very exciting. Name forthcoming, not 100% sure yet, but we will be broadcasting some games. We will be broadcasting some specials and whatnot. We want to get Staten Island sports back on the map. Gotham Trinity Productions is also building our very own studio space on Victory Boulevard, which is very exciting. So we're going to have studio cameras, lights, microphones, the whole bit. So if someone like Mark Giacalone, Vice President of IDD Bank, wants to come in and host some clients and have a couple of beverages and maybe get them on camera sitting on a crushed red velvet couch and maybe have a little studio show and, have a little some cocktails, some wine and cheese. I feel like he's a wine connoisseur, Giacalone. Come on. So I think that'd be kind of cool to have our own studio set up. That's a big deal. So all clients can come in and sit down and do interviews, testimonials, or commercial. Maybe Mark wants to come into the studio and talk about IDD Bank for a commercial spot that airs at the drive-in theater. Something simple as that. So Mark, you think about that, and you as a business owner, you think about that for your business. As Vinny Bonomi says, be seen, stay relevant. We've been doing more. I just don't know what else. Oh, my goodness, with the Staten Island Advance, Together SI, the new section that if you go to SILive.com on the tab on the left-hand side of the screen, you hit that button that says Together SI, you'll see my mug, Gotham Trinity Productions label and Michael Graziuso, the director, we are interviewing business owners throughout Staten Island to see how they survived during the pandemic and how they're working through phase 1, phase 2, so on and so forth. So that is Together SI Business Spotlight. We release a new one every day. It's a daily program or a daily segment that Gotham Trinity Productions is responsible for. Every morning around 8:30, 9 a.m. is when they're released. And SIEDC members have been on that program many a time. Often they go on SIEDC Live, and then they go up to the Staten Island Advance. So it was great working with Dan Ryan at the Staten Island Advance. And again, we encourage you to get in touch if you want to be on that spotlight. Yeah, so Jaclyn, we'll talk about testimonials today. I think that's it. We've been very blessed, to be quite honest. We have our health, we have our family, we have our friends. I'm thankful for Mike Graziuso behind the scenes. Thank you, Jaclyn Taschetti, for coming back to us on this program. Mark Giacalone, I'm glad you're still in the green room because I want to talk to you about your brother. Got a couple of words for that guy. Bless your family. Thank you so much for joining us. This was SIEDC Live. My name is Todd Bivona with Gotham Trinity Productions, and we will see you next time.